Okay.
סתם לדוד, שמרני אל כי חסיתי בך. אמרת לאדוני, אדוני אתה, תורתי בא אליך, לקדושים אשר בארץ המה, אדירי כל חפצי בם. ירבו עצבותם אחר, מהרו, בא להסיך נזקיהם מדם, ובא לשא את שמותם על שפתיי. אדוני מנת חלקי וכוסי, אתה תומך גורלי. חבלים נפנו לי בנעימים, אף נחלת שפרה עליי. אברך את אדוני אשר יעצני, אף לילות יסרו לי כליותיי. שיביתי אדוני לנגדי תמיד, כי מימיני בא למות. לכן שמח ליבי ויגל כבודי, אף בשרי ישכון לבטח. כי לא תעזוב נפשי לשאול, לא תיתן חסידיך לראות שוחד. תודיעני אורח חיים, סוב השמחות את פניך, נעמוד בימינך נצח. מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לא אחסר, בנודה שירביצני. עמי מנוחות ינעלני. נשים שובב ימחני במגדי צדק למען שמו. גם כעדר בגיא צמרת לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך עמה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי. תישנת בשמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב החסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי. ישבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. I will ask Jared to come over and to read this chapter 22 in Psalms in English.
The Song of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not lack. God causes me to lie down in lush pastures. God leads me beside tranquil waters. God restores my soul and guides me in righteous paths for God's name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your scepter and staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in full view of my adversaries. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for length of days.
Thank you. I would like to offer my condolences to the family, Bill and Gail, Ilan and Evelyn, Diane and Dexter, Danielle and Jeffrey, Jonathan Ellison, Jocelyn and Ariel, Adam, Jared, and Brittany, and Wesley. Now, when Ilan called me last night that his father passed away, I was thinking to myself, over this 24 hours, what was the schus, the merit, the good deed that your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather did, that he merited to pass away the day before Yom Kippur, Erev Yom Kippur. And not only being passing away on Erev Yom Kippur, being brought to burial hours before Kol Nidre. Literally something that you always want to live, but when somebody dies, many people wish to have this kind of passing and burial literally before Kol Nidre. And then I heard a little bit, a glimpse about your father, just a drop. Steve was 89 years old. He entered the 90th year. 90 in the Hebrew language is tzaddik. Every letter has a numerical value. Aleph is 1, Bet is 2. Tzaddik is 90. He was a righteous man. But then I was asking myself, what was righteous about him? I don't know him well. I'm looking forward to hear from both of you. Anybody can speak and tell me more about him. I met him, but I didn't have a chance to spend time with him. But a man who, first of all, was in World War II, had to hide. Why was he hiding? Why did they want to kill him? Because he was Jewish, not for any other reason. That already makes him a tzaddik. A person who suffers just because of his Jewish identity, because of God of the Jewish people, because he's a Jew, just because he was born to a Jewish mother, he deserves to be killed. That alone is a righteous man. But more than that, after the war, Many people wanted to go straight to America. They don't want to hear from anything. People run away to Australia, to Brazil. He enlisted in the Haganah and is going to Israel to do what? To fight. To risk his life again. For what? He already had enough. He can say to himself, I paid my dues. Let somebody else do it. He was fighting that for other Jewish people should be a Jewish homeland. It shouldn't be a place. It shouldn't be again a situation that Jews are like chickens. They can be killed and nobody cares. Nobody even says a boo. That he was ready to risk his life. And many Holocaust survivors who came to Israel actually were killed in the War of Independence. He was fighting and he survived. Then he was in another war, the Sinai War in 1956. A man who risks his life for other Jews. You see, righteousness doesn't count by how many prayers you say a day. Righteousness is when you are ready to give your life for somebody else. That's what righteousness is all about. That's what's so amazing about your father. Being brought to burial a few hours before Yom Kippur, you see, every human being who comes to heaven after he dies is being judged. But when you come before Shabbat or a holiday, the court houses are closed, and the person goes straight to heaven. Before Yom Kippur, the most righteous people die on Yom Kippur or before Yom Kippur. God wanted them on his side before Yom Kippur. He wanted another righteous man that can find good things. Justice action speak volumes about the Jewish people. Look what the Jewish boy is. He's ready to go and to give his life for people, for a land that he never saw, for people he never met, and he doesn't know what's going to be. He lost his family, and he's ready, instead of going to say, I want to build up a family, worry for myself, he was worrying for the Jewish people. You are very lucky to be children and grandchildren of such a special man. And I'm humbled to be a part of this funeral. And now we will learn from the family. תהי נשמתו צרורה בצרור החיים.
Just excuse me. As the rabbi said, my dad was a Holocaust survivor. My dad was a Holocaust survivor. His experience shaped his life for good and bad. He and my mom, Eva, had 3 children, and we had our own and unique experiences in life. I'll just talk about some of mine. My dad arranged an introduction to my wife, Gail, 43 years ago. Dad trained with the Haganah, as the rabbi said, and fought in the 1956 Sinai War. As a small child, I remember the sky lighting up from bombing over the orchards, over the orange orchards by Jordan. And my dad dug a trench in our front yard, so if we needed to protect ourselves from bombing, we would have some protection. And I remember being in the house, and we had black paper blacking out the windows and having an oil lamp, so we wouldn't be a target. And I remember my dad coming home wearing his beret and driving up in his Jeep and resting his rifle when he came in. My dad worked really hard in Israel building apartment buildings. And through the encouragement of my mother and my grandmother Alice, we immigrated to Israel. So my mom, my dad, Elon, and I came to the United States in April 1960. And my dad continued to work hard. He built a very successful business. He put us through school. my grandmother lived with us. And then we were really excited in 1964 in April when my sister Diane was born. I have very fond memories of helping my dad with deliveries and jobs and installations, and it was amazing. We were always amazed at all the things that he could carry and how he managed to do all that. And I remember all the fishing outings, which he really enjoyed. Elon and I sometimes in the station wagon and with the Pullman lantern. And you know, his love for Israel, news about Israel, watching police stories, wrestling and boxing on TV. He always referred to my daughter Danielle as his first grandchild. Danielle is pregnant and at home with our grandson and my dad's great grandson Wesley. And I know she wished to be here, but some people feel that it's not a good luck to come to a cemetery when you're pregnant. My son Jonathan lives in Florida, and a short time to make plans were not possible. So I know he's watching from home, and I'm just glad that Dad's at rest now and not in any physical pain, and I'm grateful for that.
Grandfather was one of the strongest people I knew I've ever met. Most likely one of the strongest people who ever walked this earth. Everything he did for his family. Family was everything to him. The struggle started at a young age, just trying to survive. The struggle progressed to fighting for the Jewish people's right to a holy land, and continued as he fought for a better life for his family. Words can't even begin to describe how special he was. It's extremely hard to believe how well-adjusted and hardworking he was, the things he had to endure starting at a young age. Grandpa, I want you to know I'm going to do whatever I can to keep your legacy going, carry on what you created. I love you forever.
My grandpa Max was many things. A Holocaust survivor, a soldier in the Israeli army, a carpenter, husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. My grandpa loved many things. Boxing, wrestling, going to the casino with grandma, Burger King, and the show Cops, just to name a few. However, there was nothing he loved more than his family. My grandparents met when they were just 15 and 16, and it was love at first sight, at least for my grandpa anyways. As soon as he saw her green eyes, he knew he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her. And that is exactly what they did. My grandparents spent 66 years, 3 months, and 21 happy days together. And last night, at about 7:30 p.m., they were reunited after nearly 4 years apart. Grandpa loved all of his kids, grandchildren, and granddogs, often calling us his fortune. Grandpa faced struggle after struggle throughout his life. However, he was truly one of the strongest people I've ever met. I hope to one day be half the husband, father, and man that my grandpa was. Grandpa, I love you forever and will miss you very much. May you rest in peace.
feel that a eulogy is meant to inform those people. I feel that a eulogy is meant to inform those people that didn't know the deceased about that person's life. Most of us here know my father's story, and you heard some parts of it today from a few speeches. I didn't really want to repeat those things. I want to talk about something else, and I want to say how so many messages I've received, and the one common theme was, since last night that I've heard, is what a sweet, nice, gentle, and kind man my father was. My dad was a cabinet maker, working with laminate or formica, making anything from custom countertops to desks, bookcases, bars, vanities, even the medical chart boxes outside the patient rooms at Mount Sinai Hospital. As I thought about what I wanted to say today, I remembered an experience I had with my dad. I remember being at my dad's shop watching him finish a countertop. He was cleaning it off before delivering it when he discovered there was a defect in the material, so minute that nobody else would ever be able to see it, but for his trained eye. Laminate's just paper with resin on top of it. And sometimes a piece of dust got into the resin at the factory and went unnoticed. And on this particular countertop, my dad didn't notice the flaw before building the countertop. Although it would have gone undetected, my dad was a perfectionist, would not have been able to live with himself or sleep, and he delivered the countertop as is. Those of you that have been lucky enough to have some of the furnishings that he's made know what a perfectionist and how skilled he was. So rather than taking the easy way out, he had the factory replace the material, and he spent his own time and hours stripping off the old defective laminate, replacing it with new material so that it could be perfect when delivered. He built his products like nobody else. He used real wood while others used particle board. He put laminate under the backsplashes so water would never get it to the wood and swell it and ruin it. Not like other people in the area. Nobody else built like he did. And he did everything by hand with very little education. He was able to draw what he wanted to build. He was able to produce the product, and he took great pride in doing his work. One more thing I want to say is that right around the time my dad got diagnosed with leukemia, Ariel and Justin got engaged. As you heard, my dad loved family immensely, and he set his goal. So Ariel and Justin got married. So the wedding was supposed to be in May of this year, but given the situation with COVID-19, it was postponed until last month. With the help from my sister, cooking for my wife and my mother-in-law, and sheer willpower to make it his goal, he did. And despite the pain, my dad continued to fight to make it to that wedding. And you could see, despite his pain, how beaming with pride and joy and love he was. And I'm so grateful that I have pictures showing that. Although I know that Ariel and Justin were initially upset by this delay in their wedding, please know that the goal of attending it kept him alive for 5 more months. I think we can take some lessons from my father's life. Set your goals high, strive for perfection, enjoy and take pride in what you do. Dad, we love you. We'll miss you. But we're glad there's no more pain. You're united with the love of your life, Eva, and your brother and your parents. Rest in peace. Is anybody else speaking? I'll do the memorial service now. אל מלא רחמים, שוכן במרומים, אמצי מנוחה נכונה על כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים כזר הרקיע מזהירים, את נשמת משה בן זאב שהלך לעולמו, בעבור שאנחנו מתפללים בעד הזכרת נשמתו בגן עדן תהי מנוחתו. לכן בעל הרחמים יסתרהו בסדר כנפיו לעולמים.
ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתו, אדוני הוא נחלתו, ינוח בשלום על משכבו, ונאמר אמן. God, full of compassion, who dwells an eye, grant proper repose on the sheltering wings of your presence, in the lofty levels of the Holy One, of the Holy and Pure, who shine as the brightness of the firmament, into the soul of Moshe ben Ze'ev, who has gone to his world, and for whose memory we pray. May his repose be in paradise. May the Master of Compassion bring him under the cover of God's wings and bind his soul in the bond of life. May the Lord be his heritage, and may he repose on his resting place in peace. And let us all respond, amen. Now we're going to lower the casket, and then it's a mitzvah to everybody should help to cover the casket.
Those who wish to help fill the grave with this must step forward at this time. If you wish to come around this side, you may do so. Some of you wish to come around this side, you may do so. now? Thank you.
By the moment to say Kaddish, Please get closer. We are going to recite the Kaddish and this conclude the service. Just want to tell you, because today is a holiday, the Shiva is not practiced. You see Shiva for a few minutes right here, they're going to see Shiva, and that's be the whole Shiva, because holiday breaks Shiva. Yom Kippur is supposed to be a happy day, and therefore it overrides the mitzvah of Shiva. Then we're going to recite Kaddish, then the three mourners will sit down in the small chairs, we'll offer them condones, and that will be their Shiva.
Is there?
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל ושמי דקדושה ואיכות לעילא מכל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה לאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיא וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ירומם, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
Rabbi.